Hi grades 3, today is Thursday. Today we are looking at exercise 52. It's 2 pages long, pages 144 and pages 145. Now in these 2 pages, you're looking at, on the first page, so page 144, you're looking at finding the area of each rectangle. Okay? The question is find the area of each rectangle. And you have to fill out the table at the bottom. Now, how do we find area? We've been talking about it for a couple of days now, and we find area when we multiply 2 things. What are they? So it's the length and the width. How long something is and how wide something is, right? So let's look at our first example. So they gave us 6 and 2, right? So 6 is the length and 2 is the width. So what did they do? They multiplied 2 to 6. So if you say 2 times table up until 6, what would you get? The answer would be 12, right? 6 2's give us 12, or 2 6's also give us 12. So you could multiply 6 and 2 or 2 and 6. You can say 2 times table up until 6, or you can say 6 times table until 2. And that would give you 12 centimeters. Okay? So that is the area. So how do we find area? We multiply 2 things, length and width. How thick it is and how long it is. Let's go to figure 2. Figure 2 is, the length is 8 centimeters and the width is 3 centimeters. We can either say 8 times table up until 3, or we can say 3 times table up until 8. So 3, if I say my 3 times table, 3 times 8 gives me 24. Or 8 times 3 also gives me 24. So my area is 24 centimeters. Does that make sense? Let's go to figure 3. Figure C says 7 and 5. My length is 7 centimeters and my width is 5 centimeters. What am I going to do? I'm going to multiply my length and my width. So when I multiply my length and my width, what do I get? 7 times 5 gives me either 5 times 7 or 7 times 5. It would give me the same answer, right? So 5 times 7 gives me 35. So 35 centimeters is the area of figure C. Now I want you to go ahead and you're going to do figure D, figure E, and figure F. What do you need to do? Multiply these numbers, the ones they've given you on the side. Your length and your width. Now for the last one, grades 3, it says 6 and 20. Now I know we don't know our 20 times table and we don't know our 6 times table up until 20 either. So what can you do to find the answer? How are you going to multiply these numbers? So we are going to, I've misplaced my marker here. So we are going to multiply our 2 numbers. We're going to stack them up, right? So find on the side of your page, or if you have a rough paper near you, you can do it with me or you can just watch it. So I'm working on figure F. It says 6 and 20. So my length is 20 and my width is 6 centimeters, right? So how are we going to stack up our numbers? So we are going to do 20. Oopsie. Why did I think this is? Okay. Oh no, I thought it's working. Okay, let me just grab. Okay, so I'm gonna do it on this piece of paper. Since I can't find my... Okay, so we're gonna multiply 20. Okay, so we would stack up our numbers. We would do 20 we'd stack up our numbers, so 20, and we need to multiply it to 6. Now, how are we going to do it? We need to remember that we are going to multiply our 6 to our 1s first. So 0 is in my 1s place. Anytime you multiply or you divide anything to 0, the answer is always 0, right? So 6 times 0 gives me 0. I'm done multiplying my 6 to my 1s. Now I need to multiply my 6 to my 10s, which is 2. 6 times 2 gives me 12. So what is the area of figure? What is the area of figure F? 120 centimeters squared. Okay, so 120 centimeters squared for figure F, 120 centimeters squared. Okay, so remember, we stack up our numbers when we are multiplying with bigger numbers. So now grade 3, you have to work on D and E. Okay, I would encourage you to work on D and E. You're going to multiply your length and your width. You're either going to say 9 times table, or 9 times table all the way to 6, or 6 times table all the way to 9. And that would give you the area of figure D, right? Area is, how do we find area? We multiply length times width. So length and width. Okay. And for figure E, you can either say 5 times table all the way to 8, or 8 times table all the way to 5. Okay, so you have to find out figure D and figure E. Work on those, and once you're done, if you're unsure, check your answer from the answer key. Now let's look at page 2. Page 2, we have to do the same thing. Okay, we have to do the same thing as we did on the previous page. We need to find, first of all, area, and then we also need to find the perimeter. Now, first let's look at the area. Let's go to figure A. It's 7 and 2, right? My length is 7 and my width is 2. What do I need to do to find the area? I'm going to multiply my length and my width. The only two numbers I can multiply are 7 and 2, right? In this picture. So I can either say 7 times table all the way, 7 times table to 2, or 2 times table all the way to 7, right? So 7 times 2, or 2 times 7, it gives me 14. So what's the area of figure A? 14, not centimeter, but meter square, right? So because they didn't give us centimeters, they've given us meters. So our area for figure A is 14 centimeters. Now, how do we find the perimeter? How would we look at the perimeter? You can do it 2 ways. You know that these two sides, so square, rectangle, they're equal on all sides, right? They're equal at the top, equal at the bottom, equal on left, and equal on right. So therefore, if you know that 14, so if the top part is 14, if the top part, if 1/2 is, if the top part is 7, then that means the bottom part is also 7, right? So let's write that down, 7. Now, if this side is 2, if rectangle has all sides same, if this side is 2, then that means the opposite side is also 2. So I'm going to write down my 2. Now, how do we find the perimeter? That's the easiest part. The easiest part is you add up all of your numbers. Okay? So you add them up, then you find your perimeter. So let's do it. 7 plus 7, so top 7 and bottom 7, it gives me 14, right? So we have 14 so far. Our top and bottom adds up to being 14. Then let's add up this side. So 14, 15, and 16, 17, and 18. So that means my perimeter is 18 meters. Do you see it? Let's do one more, and then we'll see how far we can go with this. Finding the perimeter is the easiest part, okay? You don't even need to make up any numbers. So let's go to figure B. Now figure B is, my length is 4 and my width is also 4. So first part is finding the area. Again, we find the area by multiplying our length and our width. So 4 times 4 gives me, when I multiply 4 to 4, 4 times 4 would give me 16, right? So 16 meters squared. Now, let's find out our perimeter. I know if my top is 4, then my bottom is also 4. If my side is 4, then the opposite side is also 4. Let's add up all of our numbers. So if we add all of our numbers, 4 plus 4 gives me 8. 8 plus 4 gives me 12. 12 plus 4 gives me 16. So I added my 4 times. That gave me 16 meters. So that means my perimeter is 16 meters. Does that make sense? Let's do one more, and then you will go ahead and finish D and E on your own. Let's look at C, figure C. So figure C is my width is 2 and my length is 8. So what do we need to do? Multiply our length and our width together. So 8 times 2 or 2 times 8 gives me 16. So my area is 16 meter squared. Okay. Now let's go ahead and let's find out our perimeter. So I know if my top is 2, what is my bottom? Also 2. So I write 2. If this side is 8, then what is this side? Also 8, right? Let's go ahead and let's add up our numbers. Now 8 plus 2 gives me 10, right? 8, 9, and 10. Then we have another 8 and 2. So that means if 2 plus 8 gives me 10, another 2 plus 8 would give me 10, right? 10 and 10 gives me 20. So what's my perimeter? 20 meter. Okay, does that make sense? So grade 3, that's all you have to do for these two figures. If your top is 4, your bottom is also 4 meters. If your side is 5 meter, the other side is also 5 meter. And then you add up your numbers for your perimeter, you multiply for your area. Okay, so for finding our area, we are multiplying two things, length and width. So when we find the area, we are multiplying. When we are finding the perimeter, we are adding. Okay, so area, we multiply. Perimeter, we add. Cool? Okay, so that's what you have to do. Once you're done, at the bottom, they've asked you questions. So they've said rectangle blank has the smallest area. So you're gonna go ahead, once you finish this table, you will see which rectangle has the smallest area. Then the next question is rectangle blank. So you would name it A, B, C, or D. So you would say rectangle, is it A, is it B, is it C, is it D, is it F? Sorry, E. So which rectangle has the smallest area? So pick the letter. You're going to look at the area and pick the letter. So is it going to be A, B, C, D, or E? Then next one is rectangle blank has the longest perimeter. So which of these rectangles, A, B, C, or D, has the longest perimeter? You will find out once you finish these two remaining rectangles. Then the next question is, D is rectangle blank and rectangle blank have the same area. So which of the two rectangles have the same area? Okay, so far we know from this question, we can do this one because we know B and C have the same area. So we can go ahead and fill this one in. B and C have the same area because we are already done B and C. So we know their area is 16 meters square. And then the last question is, rectangle blank and blank have the same perimeter. So which of these have the same perimeter? So for these questions, you're going to you're going to look at your table, you're going to write in the information. So it's going to be letters, okay? Naming the rectangles. So that is your work for Thursday. And next week we are actually moving to reviews only. And we are very close to finishing our math workbook. Okay? And I wish you all the very best.